Hello, everybody, and good evening. My name is Melinda Farmer, and I conducted research on the legal and research aspect of the Fairbanks Community Wellness Organization nonprofit project. And so I conducted 3 reports. The first one was on the Alaskan suicide statistics. This was to show importance of our nonprofit because Alaska has extremely high suicide statistics, especially among Alaska Natives and the younger people that would be attending UAF. And then the second report I studied was IRS qualifications. These are the steps required by the IRS to be considered a nonprofit, what disqualifies us as a nonprofit if we choose to do certain actions, and then an example of a nonprofit that was listed on the IRS website. The final study was a Stanford nonprofit lawsuit, which we use as behavior to avoid when conducting our nonprofit, and we'll use it as a learning experience. So the first study was published by Eric Wolber and Deborah Hull-Gilly, entitled Risk Factors for Suicide at the Community Level. This was conducted during the year of 2003 to 2011 in Alaska. So this study reviewed the suicide statistics of Alaskans from different regions of the state over the 9-year span and concluded that every 5-degree increase in latitude, suicide rates also increased by 18%, as well as the majority of these incidents happening in urban areas more than rural communities. With Fairbanks being the northernmost medium-sized city in Alaska, this puts the community in an undesirable position. Already, Alaska is second in the entire nation in terms of numbers of these events, 21.6%, almost doubling the national average, 11.3%. Among the Alaska Native population, the rate is 35.1%. Fairbanks has a large Alaska Native community accounting for 10% of its population. This is why Fairbanks needs our organization, because of the high Alaska Native suicide risk in our population, and because it's already a high problem already. This is a graph that I included. So the blue is the Alaska Native suicide rates from 1996 to 2005. This darker blue is Alaska combined. The green is Alaska non-native. And then the black is U.S. combined. The next study I published was from the IRS website. And so these are steps that we must follow annually to be tax exempt, as well as a process in order to be considered charitable. An example of a nonprofit charitable organization called No Bully. So an organization is considered charitable if it uses its revenues to accomplish its objective rather than distributing its income to the organization's shareholders, leaders, or members, whose key purposes are compassion and work for a common good. So the guidelines, the tax exemptions, and the way in which charity laws affects charitable organizations also differ depending on the type and use. So to be legally tax exempt, an organization must be arranged strictly for charitable services, cannot be an individual, and must either be a corporation, community trust, fund, or foundation. And so each year we have to fill out certain documents in order to keep our tax exemption. And to first qualify as a nonprofit tax exempt, we have to follow certain steps on the website and fill out certain documents. And so, yeah. So once the organization is considered tax exempt, documentation must be provided of annual returns. The IRS website provides links to other charitable organizations. One listed was named No Bully and is a nonprofit organization that works to raise awareness and compassion to end bullying and cyberbullying in public schools. I use this as an example to follow because it was listed on the IRS website, and we could follow their website, their goals, their tax exempt forms in order to properly conduct our own. And lastly, the last study was the Stanford nonprofit lawsuit, which is a disability rights advocates that have filed a lawsuit against Stanford University for their punitive, illegal, and discriminatory leave of absence policies and practices. So Stanford wrongfully required to take involuntary leaves of absence, had housing unjustly revoked, banned from parts of campus, and fined for processing. From Stanford's mistakes, we learn what not to do and how to instead work our own organization. Thank you.